Today happened to be Saturday, June the 6th, 2020. 2020, the time of the vision, the time of change. The time being 4:40 p.m. I want to show you a couple of little clips of how some police done a 75-year-old peace activist, not a radical activist, a peace activist by the name of Martin Gugino in upstate Buffalo, New York. Now, just watch this real good.
He's not here. He's clean out of here. Get him medic. What the f*** you walking up on me? I'm moving down. Let's go to work. Call the cops. Y'all don't want this shit.
Back up. Back up. Get off the steps. Let's go. Get back. Get back.
Better get an ambulance for him.
We have EMT on scene.
Now you can go to the next one while I talk. Now they didn't even want to give him any medical attention. Now this 75-year-old peace activist, white man now, people said I'm racist, white man, in a peaceful protest, shoved by two of the Buffalo, it's a special response team. One of them pushed him with a baton, and the other one pushed him with his hand, simultaneously almost. He fell to the ground, cracked his skull. Out of that crowd, one police, and I give it to him, white police, it seemed like it was all white out there. One white police attempted to try to give him aid, but the other one you seen pushed him away and had him to keep on going. This man cracked his skull. He was bleeding. And you see how them police just kept on going. Now, they suspended those two police that did the shoving, suspending them without pay. Now, let's look at this other one that's going to give you a follow-up of what's going on.
Developing right now, two Buffalo police officers will now face criminal charges after they were caught on camera shoving that 75-year-old man. Martin Gugino walked up to the officers during a protest on Thursday. He is shoved and appears to hit his head on the pavement as he lies there motionless and bleeding. Officers walk past him without appearing to help. The two officers were quickly suspended from the force. The charges against them will not be revealed until their arraignment, which again is scheduled for later this morning. 57 other officers resigned from that unit in support of the two officers who have now been charged.
I'm not done. I want to follow up on this. Now, you just seen two small clippings two small clippings that I just showed you all. The incident of the 75-year-old peaceful activist, peace activist, 75 years old, y'all, peace activist, Martin Gugino. You seen how he was shoved by two of the upstate Boston, New York, special response team police officers. One with a baton pushing him like this, the other one pushing him with his hands. It was at least 50 or 60 of them behind him. He wasn't attacking them. He wasn't resisting arrest. You see, had the cameras not have showed, had the cameras not have showed, they would have said he was resisting. That's what some police do, not all. We got to remember, all the police officers or all the law enforcement officials is not responsible for what some of these police and law enforcement officials has been doing. Turn it around. Get the camera, boo-boo. Focus in on it real hard. Y'all notice every time I come into my yard making videos, make sure you get it close, going all the way to then follow him all the way to the stop sign. Follow it all the way to the stop sign. So you got him close? Huh? Go out there where you can see it. Got him focused close? Now, you notice most times when I'm out here, I think they got cameras. I don't care what my critics say. They got cameras. You know, maybe it's just coincidental that the Charleston, Missouri Police Department or the Sheriff Department happen to be coming through when I be making my videos. But this is a free country. They got a right. You know what I mean? You let them tell it. Hey, now, let them tell it. They patrol in the area. You know what I mean? Trying to keep the violence down. Some of them is, some of them not. But back to Thursday, June the 4th, 2020. When this 75-year-old white man, for those that said I'm prejudiced, for that 75-year-old white man, defenseless, all he was doing, it was a peaceful protest like many others out there. And they just pushed him with the baton and pushed him down. When he fell, if you listen to the video real hard, his head hit the concrete and it bust his skull. You see, when blood gets to coming out of your ears, then you bleeding probably on the brain 9 out of 10 times. And you could see one of the police was trying to go give him aid and assistance, and the other one pushed him on the way, as if this 75-year-old man, even though he was white, hey now, as if he didn't even count as a human being. Now, that should show some of the blacks that said that whites had no business out here on the protest. That man was a peaceful activist. There was whites that marched with Martin Luther King. There was whites that fought to get Nelson Mandela free. There was all nationalities. But it's just showing you one thing about some police. They didn't even care. Some of the protesters saying, he's bleeding from the head. He need medical attention. And you could hear one of them say, we got paramedics on the scene. Whether it was paramedics on the scene or not, out of all them group of police, one of them should have had enough sense to stop and get that man aid and assistance because, hey now, because he was bleeding from the brain. Now, had one of them police got knocked in the head? Hey, cuz, what's going on? Y'all got my back? All right. All right, peace, be still. All right. Let's. Hey, now. All right. Is that the police again? Oh, but anyway, had that been a police officer got his head cracked out there, they would have not only gave him first aid, they would have tried to kill the individual or beat the individual or arrest the individual that did it. Now you see, when George Floyd was killed, you see what happened? It took mass riots, and I don't encourage violence. I don't encourage violence nor hate. But it took mass riots for them to actually charge these other police with a crime because they sitting there watching them doing it. But let me tell y'all this here. On my perspective, I know people get frustrated. Hey now, people get frustrated in seeing how evil some of these police officers can be. Now, we done seen it with our own eyes. They would lie on police reports until the videos come out. You see, Would I give it to every other state and every city? Even in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon, I believe, is 99% or 98% white, and they out there protesting. This what they had in Charleston, Missouri a day or so ago. This was, to me, was a parade or a performance. You see what I'm saying? Or a pre-election march. They said it was a march for prayer. You see what I'm saying? But you seen what the black NAACP president said on the news. If you didn't look back at my video. He said, we praying for the George Floyd family, and we praying for the police. We got to pray for law enforcement officials. I agree with him on both of them. But then he left it at that. He ain't praying for the black people that's being murdered and killed by some of these unjust police. You know why? Because he in the circle with this present sheriff here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. He in the circle of the chief of police here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. He in the circle of all these white supremacists and sellout blacks who won't speak up against the justice in the Charleston R1 school district here in Charleston, Missouri, Mississippi County. He won't speak up against the racism in the Charleston, Missouri Police Department, and it's not all of them. All you got to do to see, all these years you only got one black police, and that's a black sergeant who's been the sergeant probably about over a decade. You won't elevate him. You got $800,000 to remodel the police station. You don't even have a jail cell in it. The chief and the captain got new SUVs, and they hand down the old SUV to the black sergeant. He's happy. You see what I'm saying? He's happy, but he should have got something new too. But that go to show you what they think about blacks here in Charleston, Missouri. One day the sergeant might wake up. But let me show you something. When you look at the so-called prayer, community prayer here that they had downtown, you'll look at the people, black and white, just laughing, and everybody else around the town, they saying no justice, no peace. They saying white silence is violence. But y'all wake up. You know, they said they're supposed to have another march here or some type of parade, whatever it is, in Charleston, Missouri, on this corner of Warhouse in Vine Street, right across the street from me. You know, people ask me why I wasn't at the one downtown. Don't just ask me, it's the town have 5,947 people. You ask the other 5,000, you see what I'm saying? Probably 8,000, 5,800 and some other people, or maybe more than that, why they wasn't there. The same reason I wasn't there, because we know these same leaders, they don't care about what's going on with George Floyd. They don't care about what went on with this 75-year-old white man that was shoved by the police. The only thing they care about is staying in office, getting government grant money. The white supremacists give these black sellouts, preachers, not all, if you to shoot fit wear, give them this government money, NAACP, give them this government money and let them pass out food for the community. But they better not speak up against racism. I ain't through, y'all. I can't breathe. Handcuffs on. They said he was resisting, but they can't say that white 75-year-old man was resisting. All he was doing what he had a right to do. That's the same way they did me on April the 18th, 2016. Arrested me for videoing the present NAACP president for being right down the street from here, from my house, coming over here, and he live in a white neighborhood downtown by the whites, by the police station, telling black children in my community that I rape children. And my neighbors told me about it, and I went out and videoed them. Then this white supremacist police department, white court system, locked me up. But it took the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court here in the state of Missouri, Patricia Breckenridge, to send a white judge that's a Republican to come down here from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Gary Camp, to show these racist white Democrats and sellout black Democrats that what they did was violated my First and 14th Amendment right. They threw it out. But then these same white people down here in Charleston, Missouri, sellout blacks, came back again and arrested me again. That show you how they is here in Charleston, Missouri. Don't believe nothing they do. Action speaks louder than words. Peace be still.